welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today I'm taking a tiny risk with the puzzle on the screen, which is called Odd Pentominoes on the Loose by Jeff Warhays. Now, why do I think I'm taking a tiny risk? Well, this puzzle only came into us a few days ago, and I've sent it to a couple of testers, and I've only had feedback from one tester. The other tester hasn't managed to solve it. But the feedback from the one tester who did do it is that this is an absolutely stellar puzzle. I did then try and check on Logic Masters Germany to see whether it had a rating there, but there is no rating. It's only been solved by 6 people over there. So I think it might be a very hard puzzle. But the one tester who did solve it says it's so brilliant it should definitely appear in the video. So yeah, given that I also love the rule set when I read it through, I think I'm going to take the risk and give it a go today. And if it doesn't work out, you'll probably never see the video, so sorry about that. Anyway, I'll read the rules of this one in just a moment or two. Loads of things to tell you about today. Let's start with the fact that we have reached 500,000 subscribers now. There's 2 ways we're celebrating it. One way is you can now get our book, Cracking the Cryptic Greatest Hits, at a discount. There is a discount code in the video description, so do check that out. But the big news is that yesterday we released a totally free app. It is made up of, I think, 23 puzzles by some of the great and the good of the Sudoku community, and it has come out yesterday on all platforms. So we have had it confirmed it's out on Android, it's out on App Store, and it's out on Steam. So do have a look at it. The puzzles in it are mesmerizing, and it's totally free. Just download the Cracking the Cryptic app, which is free, and download the pack, which is called something like 500,000 subscribers, which is free. So free content, because we just wanted to say thank you to everyone out there who supported us on this journey. We are made up, and we hope you'll be made up with some of these puzzles. Now, next thing, we have got a very special edition of Cracking the Cryptic for those of you who like cryptic crossword content coming up later this week. Puzzler Media, which is a huge puzzle magazine, well, it's the biggest puzzle magazine in the UK. It's been going for 50 years now. And they got in touch with us and said, would we like to do some sort of collaboration with them to celebrate their 50-year anniversary? And we said, yes, of course. And their puzzle guru over there has constructed a special cryptic crossword, which he invited Mark and I to have a go at. So we've recorded ourselves solving that this morning, and that's going to appear on the channel in the next few days. So yeah, look forward to that if you like your cryptic crossword content. It's a perfect video if you want to learn how to do cryptic crosswords. Now, the only other thing I need to do is more birthday announcements. There are still some left over from when I was on a holiday. Apologies if I left you out at the time. So Aaron, from your wife Lacey, your birthday was on the 17th of August. Dave in Florida, from your wife Deb. I'm not sure when your birthday was, Dave, so I'm hoping you will know who you are. Roundplaner, who's a fantastic constructor, has featured on the channel before and in some of our puzzle packs. Well, Rockrat Zero let me know that it's your birthday today, Roundplaner, so I hope you have a brilliant day, replete with copious amounts of cake, obviously. Now, and then 2 big birthdays that are also today. Janine turning 40 today, and your brother Mark let us know this, and he wanted to express his hope that your husband Sean and his nephew Hank would also be participating in the cake, which I'm sure they will be. And then also 18 today, turning 18, is Jan Louise Barrow. I'm not saying your name right, am I? Barrow. I think it is Barrow, actually. Maybe I have got it right. But anyway, Jan Louise, it's your birthday today. Now, your classmate told us about this, but your classmate, I could only detect that their name is Jay Pogoy, I think, but I don't know what that J stands for. Maybe it is just for J. I did ask them, but I haven't had a reply, and I had to record the video. So, unfortunately, I don't know exactly who it's from, but hopefully you will, and I hope, obviously, you have a fantastic 18th birthday. I did hear that your favourite videos were the ones that take 2 hours for me to solve. I'm hoping this will not be one of those videos, but we shall see. Anyway, happy birthday to you all. Let's get on with the puzzle. What are the rules? They are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. A pentomino is a set of 5 orthogonally connected cells. there are exactly 12 different possible pentomino shapes, treating reflections and rotations as equivalent. In fact, I think I did find some pentomino pictures later. So these are the 12 possible pentominoes that you can make from 5 orthogonally connected cells. So they all have names as well. If you get really into pentomino logic, you will learn the names, but you don't need to learn the names to solve puzzles like this one. At least I don't think you do. Now, our job here is to arrange all 12 pentominoes in the grid so that 9 of them contain only odd digits. Digits can repeat inside a pentomino. Pairs of cells connected by an X or V sum to 10 or 5 respectively and belong to 2 separate pentominoes. Not every X and V is given. And along the thermometer, digits increase from the bulb end. So let's just check we understand those rules. So that means we're going to have to put 12, all of those 12 different pentominoes, so one of these each is going to appear in the grid. 9 of them are going to have completely odd digits in them. So imagine that pentomino there. I'll use O for orange, isn't it? So odd is orange. So imagine we worked out those cells were orange. That would be a T pentomino of orange digits, and therefore I think well, I suppose we might be able to have other T pentominoes, but we have to make sure we have one of each pentomino. And now obviously 12 pentominoes only take 60 cells, so there are 81 cells in a Sudoku, so there are going to be 21 other cells. I don't know if that means there could be other pentominoes in those cells, but we have to make sure there's one of each pentomino. 9. Oh, I've just noticed something. Oh, for goodness sake, Simon. Right, I've just noticed something that's relevant to the solve, but I won't tell you what that is, but I'm sure most of you have got it already. Okay. But anyway, we've got to put some pentominoes in the grid. 12 in all of the different types of pentominoes. 9 of those pentominoes contain only odd digits. And then so those 2 digits we're told add up to 5. Those 2 digits add up to 10 because these are separated by a V, these are separated by an X. And we're told that these 2 digits here are in different pentominoes. Yes, they belong to 2 separate pentominoes. So every time there's an X or a V in the grid, the 2 digits in the X or the V are in different pentominoes. Not every X or V is given, so that means it's perfectly possible, for example, for these 2 cells to add up to 5, or these 2 cells to add up to 10. And along the thermometer, we have to increase as we go up it. So if that cell was not a yellow, I wanted to put a number in. If that's a 4, this has to be greater than 4. If this is a 7, this has to be greater than 7. So something like that would be a valid way of filling the thermometer. Do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now the thing I noticed as I was just doing the example there is that there are 9 3x3 boxes in a Sudoku. Now in each 3x3 box, what are we going to have by way of odd numbers? Well, we're going to have the numbers 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. In other words, there are 5 odd numbers in each box of this Sudoku, which means that altogether there are 9 times 45. There are 45 odd digits in a Sudoku. But we're told in the instructions here that 9 of the pentominoes we're putting in the grid have to contain only odd digits. In other words, all of the odd digits in this puzzle are entirely within 9 pentominoes that we are going to have to draw. And that's important, I think, because that means that the other 3 pentominoes that we've got to put in the grid, because we have to put all 12 pentominoes in, must be entirely even digits. And that's interesting. Well, I don't know if this is how you start the puzzle, but I have worked out now that the I pentomino, which is a string of 5 cells in a line, cannot be even, because if it was even, There are only 4 even digits in any column or row of this Sudoku because the numbers available are only 2, 4, 6 and 8. So I'm just wondering if this is how we're meant to start the puzzle, by saying that the I pentomino must be odd, and therefore wherever the I pentomino goes, let's say it went there, it's going to use up all the odd digits in its row or column. No, okay, no, this is, I don't understand how to use that. Oh well, we've worked out something, but we don't understand how to use it. Digits can repeat inside a pentomino. Pairs of cells. Yeah, I know what we should do first. We should divide up all of these X's and V's into different pentominoes, shouldn't we? So we'll use the line tool to do that. Oh, which has changed. What do these colours do? Oh, good grief. So Sven's built colours into the line drawing tool. That's very cool. Wow. Do support Sven, by the way. Buy Sudoku Pad, which is the software that we use to solve the puzzles every day. It is fantastic and very cheap at half the price, let me tell you. Let's keep going with these. So I'm just dividing these dominoes into different pentominoes. So now, what do we know about the world? Wow, I thought this was going to sort of delineate some obvious pentominoes, but it doesn't. There's not nearly enough X's and V's to do that. Right, okay, so maybe we've got to use the fact that opposite sides of a V pentomino, or V domino, sorry, have to be different parity. Yes, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. So think about the ways of making V in a domino. There's 2 ways, 1, 4 or 2, 3. So on either side of a V domino, there's an odd and an even number. Now, obviously, in this puzzle, we don't know which way round they go. But we know that the even number on one side of this V is in a pentomino, because that's what the instructions tell us. So that means we've only got 3 even pentominoes. So hang on, let's just highlight all the V's for a moment. Right, so each of these V's has an even digit on one side of it. Oh no, I thought this was going to be massively important, but it's actually... So what I was thinking was that it was going to be difficult to fit the even digit on one side of these dominoes into only 3 pentominoes, because there are only 3 pentominoes that contain even digits. But it's not difficult at all, actually. In fact, I think I could do it with 2 pentominoes. If that was even, that was even, and that was even, and that was even, and that was even, and that was even, if all of those were even, I could just have an X up there and a T there, and that would deal with all of the V's. That is Bobbinsworthy. Oh, that's really annoying. I thought that was a really sensible thought, and it's just not worked. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, so that we can get rid of... I mean, obviously, if we could work out... Let's just think about that. Is there some arrangement of blue digits on either side of the V's that we could immediately eliminate? You know, I'm thinking if that was blue, and that was blue, and that was blue for even digits. No, even that's not terribly difficult, is it? We could still pick up... We could pick up a blue in either of those using these pentominoes, and we could pick up one in either of those. And one, no, okay, this is not how to do the puzzle. Sorry, I haven't understood this yet. I think the thermometer is a late stage clue. It feels like this thermometer is going to be not important for some time. So maybe we've got to think about x's then. So x's are instinctively less useful to me because an x has to have the same parity on both sides. So because it's 1, 9, obviously both digits are odd, 2, 8, both are even, 3, 7, both are odd, 4, 6, both are even. So if we could identify oh, right, okay, but we do know that digits on both sides of an x are in pentominoes, so that's going to make it hard, I think. Given that we know there's got to be an even pentomino somewhere up there, at least one. So if that was an even version of x, surely, he says, I'm about to do my Raven quotation. I mustn't get distracted. Surely you can't put all of the evens that must be on one side of all of these yellow dominoes into only 3 pentominoes. I mean, if those were 3 pentominoes, that would deal with the top section. But how do you... Yes, you can't do it. You can't connect this cell or this cell, one of which must be even. Oh, could you connect it up? No, hang on. This is more complicated than I thought. No, all right, let's use this one. How do you connect one of those even cells to either of these, which you can't do? This is not... You can't get from there to there in 5 orthogonal cells. You need at least 7. And you can't get from here to anything up there. So there is no way of doing it. That is definitely odd. There we go. So can I do the same trick with that domino? That's my next question. I think that must be impossible, but I don't know for sure. If this was even, this is in a pentomino, this is in a different pentomino. So that's pentomino 1, that's pentomino 2. There must be a pentomino somewhere up there to deal with all of the even digits in these pentominoes. Wherever whatever is even in the top right can never get to this or this. So there is a third one up here somewhere. And the next challenge is to connect everything else to one of these. Is that possible? Maybe. Although that one might be tricky. This is difficult, actually. This is difficult. I think this is troubling, isn't it? Because I must only have one pentomino up here. And there's no way, because if I have 2 pentominoes up here, this is 4 even pentominoes, and that's not going to work. So this or this can't connect to whatever the pentomino is in the top right, because the pentomino in the top right needs to capture all 3 of those even digits, or wherever they are. It's got to deal with all of them. It can't come off down here as well, or it's going to be something like a, I don't know, it's going to be an octomino or something. It's going to have to be far too big. So that means that this, whichever one of these is blue, has to connect to one of those 2. Now the interesting thing about that is that I suddenly thought, well, okay, I could have an I pentomino, but I can't have an I pentomino that's blue, because that's going to put too many even digits in row 6. So neither of those cells I'm going to contest can get to either of these 2 cells, which means that this doesn't work either. And if this doesn't work either, that is therefore going to be orange. And look, we're getting somewhere now, because now we've got a whole raft of orange in column 1. We can only have one more odd digit in column 1. Do you think we could do that one? Do we know what that one is? Is it possible for that to be even? That seems harder to eliminate. Well, So we've got pentomino, even pentomino 1, even pentomino 2. There must be a different even pentomino in this domino here, because obviously something down here cannot connect to these. So our task now, how do you get that one in? No, that's easy. This is easier. I should have started here. How do you get an even digit on that V to connect to either there or there? It cannot do it. It's clearly too far away. So that is also orange. Let's get rid of the numbers. So this is, I think, how we're going to attack the puzzle. We're going to build off the fact that it's tricky to put even digits across an X. And we've got 3 X's left, all of which are in the same column. Ah, well that means that at least one of these is even, because they can't all be odd, or there would be 6 odd digits in column 5. So let's just think about this for a moment. So if this was even, hang on, if this is even, then this is odd. That's pentomino 1, that's pentomino 2. There's got to be a pentomino up here. So that's this one's going to have a third pentomino on it. And now our challenge is to connect every other yellow domino to one of these. Well, you can see this one up here can deal with both of those. Oh no, actually that's easy to do. You could just have a V there. Or if it's, or even you could have an L there connecting that, and then that one could go through there and be a W. Oh. Is there some other way we can rule that out? It's quite constrained, isn't it? It feels like there's going to be an awful lot of blue real estate in this column, because that's going to turn blue. The moment we take this cell as blue, that turns blue. We're actually going to have 4 blues in this column immediately, and that's going to have to be orange. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anything terribly nice there to do that way, so maybe we've got to hold off on that. Let's make that yellow again. Let's get rid of our numbers up here. And let's think again. So, yeah, see, I think that's the one, that's the most pressurized X of those that's left. Because this one, if that was even, you can clearly see that that one could pick up those very easily. That one could then touch either that one or that one. And that only leaves this one having to deal with the other of those two. So that's going to be fine, I think. Sorry, okay, I'm not understanding quite what I have to do now. I'm so tempted. It does feel like those 3 are all going to be in the same pentomino. Maybe it's column 1 again then. Let's have a think about this. We've got lots of orange digits. Ah, okay, no, not column 1. What about box 4? That's interesting. Those 2 cells are even. I love this sort of puzzle, by the way. If ever you want to get a puzzle on cracking the cryptic, this is the sort of way to appeal to my heart, because this sort, I love shading parity puzzles. Anyway, look, that domino, we know something about its parity. One of the cells in it is orange, and one of them is blue for even. So that's 4 odd digits catered for in those 5 cells. But this pentomino, it needs to be a pentomino. There needs to be an orange in one of those 2 cells to get this pentomino to be of size 5. So that's all the orange cells. One of these, and those 3 that can exist in box 4. So those 2 have got to be blue. That's right. This is okay. So now this cell's got to be orange because this pentomino has to get out. Oh, that's gorgeous. So now I've done all 5 in this column. So these are blue. This orange is only got a size 2, so this is orange. Ah, here we go. Here we go. Right, now there's something going on in box 1, because this pentomino here is of size 3 at the moment. So it needs to grow, so it needs to go into either this cell or this cell. But in going into one of those cells, it's going to be the 5th orange digit in this box, so that's got to be blue. Now, I wonder, do we know that this triomino joins to this? I think it probably has to, but I'm not certain. If it does, it's either a W or a Z. If it doesn't, it's got to be an L. And then this one... Oh no, that doesn't work. Sorry, that doesn't. I've just seen why that doesn't work. If we try and make an L here, so we have a pentomino that looks like this, we've got 4 odd digits at the start of row 3. We know there's 1 in this domino, 1 in this domino. That's 6 odd digits in row 3. That's nonsense. So actually, we know that this joins to these. Now, is that helpful to know that? Well, it means that we can draw that line segment in. And I suppose it means that we can join, we know that this one at the top has to get out, so it has to go there. I'm wondering if that's the I pentomino going across the top. Okay. So this, okay, that cell needs to grow. That's only of size 1. That needs to go to here. And what do we know about this domino? We know it grows. It takes 1 cell from here and then another cell from here. So so it has to get outside its box, does it? Yeah. So if we think about the count, how do we get this domino to be of size 5? It can only have 1 of these 2. It can only have 1 of these 2. So by the time it fills, it's taken all it can from this 6-cell rectangle, it's going to only be of size 4. So it's either got to take this one, or this one. And if it takes that one... Alright, that doesn't work. Because if it takes that one as its 5th cell, how does this one reach size 5? It has to go... oh no, maybe it can take this one. Oh, bobbins. Okay, no, sorry, I thought it was going to get trapped in box 7, but look, it can get out like that and leave box 7 only having had 5 orange cells in it. So we can't say anything about this, I don't think. If it comes out to here, it's got to be an L. Which is the same, actually. If it comes out to here, it's got to be an L. Because it has to go straight through the start of row 6 to do that. So it's either, this domino is either an L or a Z. But if it's a Z, it forces this one to be an N. Oh, and this one was either a W or a Z, wasn't it? So if I can prove this is a Z, then I know this one, or then what do I know? No, then I know this one is an L. Oh, this is getting complicated. No, I can't quite do anything in row 3. I've got one odd there, one odd there, so I'm up to 4 odds in the row. What am I meant to do now? Oh no! What am I meant to do now? I'm almost wondering whether I've got to revisit these X dominoes now that I know a bit more about the left-hand side. Is that going to somehow help me? I'm not sure. Let's try that in the absence of anything else to try. So this is the one that I think is under the most stress, because there's definitely a pentomino up there that's even. So if I make this even, let's do that. If I make that even, this X even, that has to be odd. And now I've got one pentomino here, 2 even pentomino here. I've got a 3rd even pentomino up here. So hang on. I know what I should have done. Okay. Okay, perhaps I have to think of these in pairs. Because if this is even, how could this also be even? Surely it cannot be. And I say that because if this was also even, let's just put that in like this. Now, we know these are in different pentominoes. We know these are in different pentominoes. Is it possible for this sequence to just contain 2 different pentominoes? Well, no, there's no way you can do that. If these are different and these are different, for it to only contain 2 different pentominoes, you'd have to somehow connect this to this and this to this, and these orange ones get in the way. Or you connect this to that, and that's too many cells. So that means that these would have to be all three of the different even pentominoes would have to be in this string. And how could that be the case and us touch this? One of those has got to be even. It's got to connect to something in that line. That's not going to work. So that the consequence of this being blue is that that is orange and this is blue. Right, that's broken. Right, this is utterly broken now. Right, so the reason this is broken is that we've somehow got to touch one of these 2 cells with either this pentomino, or, oh, actually, could we do it with, no, well, we've got to touch one of these and one of these. We know that the third blue pentomino must be here, mustn't it? Because these 2 can't touch this. You can't touch this. No, don't go wrapping, Simon. It will not work. What are you doing? So how do we make either of these blue and touch it to either this one, or that one? No way. There's no way of doing it. If we come round there, that's the best we're going to do, and that's of size 6. We come over the top there, it's going to be even bigger. It's at size 8, I think, and it clearly cannot touch that. So this is lovely, because that means that we can, let's get rid of the numbers there. This is not blue, this is orange. Therefore that is blue, which actually is a much nicer position, isn't it, to touch something up there. But one of these has to be blue. So now I don't know whether the correct thing to think about is going to be do we think this is going to be blue or orange? One of these at least has to be blue, because we can't have all of them as orange. I'm just trying to sort of think about in my brain whether I think this one, I mean, if that was 4 oranges in a row, then this would be double blue. I can almost believe that, actually. I think I can almost believe that. So perhaps I've got to think about this a different way. So I think it's more likely to be difficult for this to be orange, I think is where I'm coming at this from. So let's try and disprove that. If this is orange, that's blue, and this is both, this one is both blue, isn't it now, because we can't have 6 oranges, so that's orange. Now, is that broken? Obviously. Actually, maybe I'm wrong about this. So I've got 1 there, 2 there, that's 2 different pentominoes. This pentomino, or sorry, this domino here, or even this one, definitely can't touch either of those, so we'll make that the 3rd even pentomino. So we could easily deal with stuff up here with 1 pentomino. Oh no, now I'm changing my mind actually. This looks reasonable, doesn't it? How do I disprove this as a possibility? Not easily, I think. Nothing. I'm not seeing. I can deal with the blueness up here. These 2 pentominoes then have to cater for this one and this one only, and that strikes me as incredibly easy. Okay, so I've totally messed this up. Let's go back then to thinking about whether or not actually these can both be orange. So if they're both orange, this cell will be blue, this will be double blue, this will be orange. Oh, this looks trickier, actually. This looks trickier all of a sudden. Is that really possible? Because I'm thinking we've got 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. Those are all clearly in different pentominoes, because this one can't reach there. And now I've got the challenge of joining everything else that's in a V to one of these without breaking the puzzle. So what does that one join to? Well, that's got to join to this one, doesn't it? What other one? It can't join to that, that's too many cells. It can't join to this because it's got to do a big shimmy. So it has to join to that. So these 2 join together. I don't know how that closes, but it closes in an N pentomino. So this one, can that one reach? No, it can't. So this one has to join to this one. That's okay. That we can do that, especially if it's this one that's blue. So that means this one's job is to cater for both of these blues. And that doesn't work. How do we connect this to the blue that's in there and the blue that's in there? Now, the only way I can see of even having a chance of doing that is if this is blue and this is blue. That's the only way I can see that could possibly work. Because if we make that blue, we have to do a big excursion. But these 2, I can see there are pentominoes that could join these 3 digits together. But they aren't useful pentominoes, because we have to do this one. And now we've got all 4 blues in this row. So we've got to take that one, and that's an N. But we know that this is an N as well. So that is wrong. That is wrong. I'm just trying to see if there's a more devastating way of proving that. I mean, it is proved. I'm just trying. Let me just have a stare at it for a second or two to see whether it's provable another way that's easier to see. Although I'm conscious I've already had 40 minutes. People might get their wish about this being a 2-hour video because I'm not even close to digits yet, am I? Right, that's broken. For sure that's broken. So let's unwind this. So we cannot have orange here. This has to be blue, which means this has to be orange. But now we might be able to prove that this can't be blue. Because if that's blue, how on earth is that working? Because now I'm thinking we've got one there, we've got a second blue pentomino there. Now we can't have 3 and 4 because there are only 3 blue pentominoes. So we've got to make... So one of these has to join up to one of these. Well, the only one that could possibly do that is this one. So let's make that 2 and this 3. But how do you join these together now, given you've had all your even digits in this column? You've got to move out of column 5 to do it, and that's going to force you to take 6 cells. That's really beautiful. I think that's right, isn't it? I mean, there's no other way of doing that. There's no other way of doing that. It just doesn't work. So that means that we've got a bit further. We've now got to a point where we can go orange here, blue here. Oh, and that blue there is very, very expected, isn't it? Because it's close to these yellow dominoes. So this one is going to cater for both of these probably quite easily. Come on. I must be close to finding something out here, I think. What is the thing we're going to be finding out? Can we now... I don't know. I'm just struggling to see what I'm meant to do. Is there something we can say? So if this is pentomino 1, this is pentomino, not this, yeah, the pentomino, even pentomino 1. This is even pentomino 2. So I can easily attach this to either of those. I can easily attach this to either of those. Can I attach that to that? That might be a good question. Because if I can't, if this doesn't attach to this, then this has to deal with these, because this one can't get up here. Yeah, okay. So is that forced? Can I join this to this? To do that, I would have to go blue, blue, wouldn't I? So we're looking at a world where we've got an N pentomino here. No, this is problematic, I think. Or is it? I haven't quite disproved this in my brain yet. I just feel it's too constrained. So what I'm thinking is that to close this pentomino up, I'm going to take one of these as blue, which makes all of these orange and creates a very, very powerful wall of orange, which is going to make this very tricky. So how are we going to deal with... I suppose this one could be blue, couldn't it? And then that could join those and make an F pentomino. Which... why is that problematic? Why is that wrong? Maybe it's not wrong. So that would mean this is fine, this is fine somehow or other, and these two just have to connect to each other, which they could do in a whole variety of ways. Okay, Wow. All right, let's unwind this. This is, unfortunately, I think not the next step. Okay, maybe this pentomino. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. Oh dear. Sorry about this. Can we... I'm not sure whether I'm meant to revisit stuff I've already done or start afresh. 1, 2, 3. One of these is going to create... Yeah, okay, I've looked at this before, haven't I? This one, I think, could have been a Z or an L going out, poking out there. How could it be a Z? No, that... Ooh. Oh. Ah, right. We have learnt something useful. I've learnt something useful. That's really peculiar. Okay, this can't be a Z anymore. Ah, yeah. I know why new knowledge has come into the world that helped us here. Before, this cell, we didn't know its colour. So I thought that this could form a pentomino like that. But now it can't because this is blue. So if this is a Z, how does this form a five cell shape? And you could say, oh, well, it can. It could be a W, for example. No, it can't, because there are 6 orange cells now in box 7. Once this Z pokes into box 7, this, whatever it is, needs to poke out of box 7. Otherwise, there will be more than 5 digits, and it can't get out. That's perhaps the easiest way of seeing it. So this is not a Z. So it is an L. That's interesting. So this is either doing this, or it's doing that. What's that telling us? Is that telling us something very helpful? That means we can't have an L anywhere else in the puzzle. Was there anywhere I was thinking of putting an L? That could have been an L. Ah. Well, it can't be an L now. I'm not sure whether I ever considered whether that could be an L. Well, but it can't be. Right, so that can't be an L. So if it can't be an L, this joins to this. I think I've said this before. I seem to remember we thought this was a W or a Z or something. So what does that mean? So this one... Do we know that this one joins to this? Maybe we do. How could this not join to this? Well, the only way it could not join to it is if it sort of comes down here. That would be one way it could do that. But then this can't reach size 5 because there's already 5 odd digits in box 2 and it can't go anywhere. And the same is true, I think, if it comes across the top. Then we've already reached 5 odd digits and this hasn't got any friends. So we can actually say that this and this are in the same shape. Let's give them all circles just in case that helps us. So 1, 2, 3. There are 2 more orange cells. Yes. Oh no, actually I'm wrong. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to prove they all had to be in there, but that could perhaps be a way that... No, hang on, that doesn't work. Yeah, I think it's true to say that there are two more orange cells in the circle shape. Now, if we have to connect these circles together, so we're either going to take this one or this one to do that. And then the final circle shape is going to be in box 2. So that means that this shape, which is definitely not the circle shape, cannot take any more odd digits in box 2. And that means it comes lower here, and that creates 5 thingies in this column. So those two turn blue. Now, oh, this is amazing. So that's got to be orange. And we don't know. I don't think I know which of these it is now that completes this shape. It's either an N or an F, but that's definitely blue because the 5th odd digit is in one of those two cells. Which might matter. Oh, goodness me, this is very constrained now. I still haven't got any actual pentominoes built. I'm 50 minutes into the video. This is one of those videos where I am I'm proving least effective over the course of an hour. Okay, do we know which way this goes? It looks like it might want to go that way, doesn't it? I keep thinking we're building n pentominoes every which way. Oh no, this was one where I thought that could be an n pentomino as well. I've got 4. This is nice. I've got 4 evens in the top row, so all of those are odd. And that means that's even. Which isn't surprising because it's near this one. Okay. Oh no. Right. So what can we do with that knowledge? One of these is odd, one of these is even. I'd love to know any number of 1, 2, 3, 4. One of these is odd to connect this one up. Okay, so maybe it's something to do with connecting evens up. One of these has to be even. Still feels... It feels very tricky for this to connect to this. That pentomino is going to put a whole line of orange down here, which is going to... it's going to do a lot of damage, isn't it? And that would have to be blue. These would all be blue. I don't think it tells us, though, which way round this L is. There's an L either there or there. Depending on what's going on over here. Let's try labelling these up again. 1 and 2. This is definitely 2 different pentominoes. That's definitely a 3rd. Because that one definitely can't touch the 1. So, is there actually anything difficult about this at all? Perhaps there's just not. Oh, I've just seen something that I hadn't spotted. This is penned in here, so we can get another orange. That's got to be orange. Do we know anything about this one? That's of size 2 at the moment. I know it can't come back up here, can it? Because if it comes back up there, to get this one out, we're going to have too many oranges in the box. So that one doesn't go up there. Well, yeah, here's another little point. This one here doesn't come into that cell, I don't think. Because if it did, this blue cell, which needs to be in a pentomino that connects to 1, 2, or 3, could never do that. It's hived off from them. So this one, this is interesting. This one stays in its box. Because it can't get here, and it can't go there. Oh no, could it go there? No, it can't go there, because if that's orange, we know it's part of the L to get out. So it never goes into box 4. So this one, because it can't get here, and it can't get there in 5, stays in its box. So that means all the odd digits in this box belong to this pentomino. Now that means this one can't come in there. So this one is allowed to come back one cell to here, but then it's got to come this way. So that one's got to be orange, that one's got to be orange, and these are definitely delineated from each other by the X. I've almost got 5 in box 8 now, which would be huge, wouldn't it? So yeah, yes. Well, here's a small point. What colour is this cell? What colour is that cell? I think that cell has got to be blue, because if it's orange, how do I connect this to one of these 1, 2, and 3 numbers? I can't do it in only 5 cells. So that's blue, which unfortunately I don't think is very interesting. Probably famous last words, but I don't think it is. I think there's some way I must be able to tell which way this goes, and I just can't. I'm just not being clever enough to work out what that way is. I mean, it would be if it goes there, that's all 5 odd digits in that row, and that all of those would turn blue. But there doesn't seem to be anything that's wrong with that particularly. If it goes there, what's that doing? That's making these 2 blue. So this blue would have to connect to one of these, which it can easily do. There's a whole variety of ways it can do that. And this one could connect here. But it doesn't have to. This one would be off the hook and could do all sorts of things then. It could go on very many journeys. Right, so I'm still not getting this, am I? How do we make more intelligent progress? I have not got a clue. I've still got one of these has to connect. Well, yeah, that's going to connect to this. That's fine. So this one can take care of that one. This one can either join its friends here in some sort of arrangement, or it can come down here. Oh, I've got it. Wow, that's vicious. That is quite vicious. Right. Right. How does this join to this? It can't. Because now what does this do? This cannot come to this cell. So it's going to have to come down there, which actually not only makes the same pentomino shape, which is an N, but it also prevents this one ever being an L, because one of these 2 cells belongs to this one. So this is wrong. And this is important, I think, because if this can't connect to this, this has to be 3. It has to join to that. Or maybe it's not important, actually. I'm changing my mind. Maybe. Okay, but this digit cannot be blue. Because if that digit's blue, we get the same problem here. Because this cannot come to this cell, it comes down there and it cuts off the L that we know must emerge from this domino. So that digit is orange. This is getting very cluttered up here, isn't it? Do I know? I think, yes, I think also we can say that this and this are connected. Because if that line segment was true, we'd have the same problem with this pentomino and cutting off the L. So this is part of this. This is part of that. Oh, I still don't know how it finishes off at the top, do I? Can we say with any certainty which way round this goes? I mean, if that's the blue digit, is that a problem? Yes, that's a problem. That's impossible. Because if that's blue, I can connect it to this one, but I can never connect it to that one as well. And we know these two are connected. So that's lovely, actually. That gets me a blue here, an orange here. That's a 3. So this is going to be an X, isn't it? Because X is going to be hard to put in the puzzle. So this, I mean, if it's, oh no, actually it could be a U. Oh, or a P. Oh, bobbins. No, okay, I don't know what that is. I think it's going to be an X. Oh. Hang on, this is all penned in. So this needs to reach size 5. Oh, it could, no, and it can't do that without touching this, because that's going to lead to 6 orange cells in the box. So that's orange. And that is our first pentomino. Ta-da! After an hour. So that's a pentomino. Let's get rid of those 3s because they're confusing me. These two are both blue. Do I know what this do? No, I still don't know. I've still not got any. I still think. I know I can't put a V anywhere else. Was there somewhere else I wanted to put a V? I don't know. It's another long video. This is going to be a really long video, actually. If I can solve it at all. I do feel I'm sort of stumbling along, so maybe I'm not desolate yet that I'm not going to be able to solve it. But I'm certainly not confident it's going to be quick. So how can we do this? I don't know what this pentomino looks like up here. Do we have a way of knowing? I don't know. I know this is going to be an L, don't I? I know this is going to be a Z or a W. This is going to be an F or an N. This, I don't think I know anything about because it could come down that way. Although, could it? I know one of these cells is part of the L. And that's going to give me 4 cells in this box as orange. So actually this cell definitely can't join that. But that cell could. No, okay, this is madness. It's not going to be Sudoku, is it? Oh, that's actually, it could be Sudoku. I've suddenly realised that because I actually know the colours of all of these X's and V's, I can actually put in some, like that's odd and it's on a V, so that's a 1 or a 3, as is that. So that's a 2 or a 4, and that's a 2 or a 4. Oh, I can put 5 into column 1. Oh, what an idiot. Look, where does 5 go? You can never put 5 on an X, so 5 goes there. Oh, it's going to be 5s. I didn't think of this at all. Right, I need to get rid of some of this, some of the accoutrements that I've painted into the puzzle. They're confusing me. Let's get rid of that. Now, where can we put 5? 5 can never go. Yeah, okay, that's a 1, 3, isn't it? So that's a 2, 4. So these have got to be a 6, 8 pair. That's a 7 or a 9. Wow, that digit's blue. Oh my goodness, this. I mean, that's brilliant setting. This is blue because it sees all the orange digits. And the reason we know this sees all the orange digits is that I know that this must have a 7 or a 9 in one of its cells. So that means this digit cannot be 5, 7 or 9, and it can't be 1 or 3 either. In the row, that's blue. And if that's blue, where does this one go? It goes here. Oh, I didn't believe it. I don't believe it. And that's given me all my blues in this row, so that's orange. Now, that's all the oranges in this. Oh, this is it. Now this is blue. So now I've got loads of shapes all of a sudden. I've got a W here. I've got an F here. I've got WF. I've got a V over here. What else have we got? Does that tell me? No, it doesn't tell me what shape this one is. I've got an L here at some stage. This one has to stay within its own box, but cannot be a W. Oh, it could be a T. Yeah, it could. It's probably a T. Not sure. I'm just trying to think. I suppose it could possibly be a Z. I haven't had a Z yet. Okay, so it's T or Z, I think. Can't be an F. Okay, sorry. Oh, hang on. I've not put I in the grid. Ah! Where on earth do we put I? This is the first question I thought of. I cannot go in any row or column that has an existing pentomino. Like I can't put I down here, because obviously that's going to be a 6th orange cell in the column. And I can't put I across here, because that's going to be a 6th orange cell in the row. So what can be I? It's got to be one of these things at the bottom, I think. Cannot. Oh. No, because I know those 3 are connected, so I can't just... No, it's just nonsense. So if it's this one... Oh, it's not. Well, it's not this one for a rather beautiful reason. If that's I, that forces this one to be I as well. It can't be anything else, so that's not I. So is this I? Is that what we're learning? I think this is I. I can't see another possibility to put an I in the grid. So if this is I, we know it can't come through this gap because this one's taking all the 5 orange digits in box 7. So it's got to come there. That gives me another orange cell. We know that this now... Well, we know that all of the... Oh, no. Oh, this is a P. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. I didn't even come up with that as a possibility. Yeah, but if we think about this, the bottom row is now got an I pentomino in it somewhere. So those 2 are both blue. Yet this has to reach size 5, so it's got to be those. So that's a P. Whoops. Like that. And that must be very important. He's just trying to work out why. Oh no. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm sure you're seeing lots of things here, but I'm just not understanding how to do it. Oh, come on. Come on, Simon. I mean, that could be blue, couldn't it? But it doesn't mean we don't have to put this in a pentomino. Let's label up the blue pentominoes again. 1, 2, and this one up here is the third. And that one. So that one, if it joins to... Oh no, that could be a T. I just can't get a handle on this at all. I really can't. This one does that. This one can do whatever it wants then. What's the problem with that? Nothing, I don't think. There's something here that I'm not appreciating very clearly, isn't there? I almost feel like I'm missing a clue down here that's going to help me. I mean, maybe the idea is, maybe I can tell which way round this goes somehow. I don't think I can. I mean, obviously, if that's blue, I think the world's easy. So maybe that's the question. How is that orange and that blue? Maybe that's a good question. Now this... Okay, so now that being orange obviously fixes the nature of our L. The L would go like this, so that would be blue. And this has to connect here, so that must be blue. This is looking very constrained now. All of those turn blue as a result of this. I mean, the whole puzzle would basically be filled in, which would be very nice. All of those would be orange. But why does it break? That's the real question. What's breaking about this? Because that is not what I'm seeing. I need to understand why this breaks. This would join to this. Is there some... maybe it can't be that shape for some reason. It couldn't be an F. It could be a Y. There's no problem with it being a Y. It could even be... it couldn't be an L, could it? So it could be a Z. I don't think I've had a Z. Oh, if this is P, does that mean I can get this one? No, that could still be U or X. I think it's still going to be X. Okay, so this is not working, is it? This is not working. I don't think. I think I'm missing some fundamental deduction here. Maybe it's a meta deduction, and I can't quite get my head around this until I've figured that out. I mean, I can see, yes, everything's very constrained. That's not surprising. There must be some cell in this puzzle that just totally breaks if you make it a particular colour. Like this one being orange or something. But that I think can be orange. That looks like it can be orange. One pentomino here of blue, a second that starts here. Something's got to pick up a blue in one of these cells. But again, I just think that's very... I mean, oh, I can't have F anymore. Ah. Ah, okay. No, but I could have T, couldn't I? I'm just wondering if it's now possible... Is it possible to say what this one's... You know, does this have to join up with this? is what I was thinking. And the thing is, I think it's actually no is the answer to that question. If this is a T pentomino, let me just put that in like this. What is wrong with that? Now this 2 is, I think, completely devoid of any pressure on it. It has to come out this way. Oh no, maybe it breaks. Oh no, that does break, but it breaks for a horribly difficult reason. Okay, this doesn't work, because what happens to this 2 now? This 2 has to come out this way. And the reason I think that's a problem is not for the 2, but for this, which has to now either be an L, which it can't be, the L's coming out from over here, or an I, which we know it can't be because that's an I. So that is not working. So actually, this one, how does this one then? If this one doesn't join to this, it's got to join to that, and it's got to take one of those, therefore, because it's going to create a wall, which would have to be a T, which we've just shown is impossible. So this one is 2. This one is part of this pentomino. Now the interesting point, and I think this is interesting, is how does 2 pick up one of those 2 cells? It cannot do it, because if it does, it's got to be an F, and I think I had an F there. I did. So that means that this is joined to here. Now, that being the case, how does this 2 take this cell? If it does, this 1 needs to come across the top, and neither of these could be part of the L we know is coming out from here. So that doesn't work. So this allows us to do that. Now this has to be a valid pentomino, so now we can do something. We can do loads more. This is weird. This is very beautiful. Right, what's this? Well, no, what's this? Is this part of the 2? No, because that's an L, and we know there's an L coming over here somewhere. So that means that this is not in this pentomino, which means it must come down to there. And therefore that cell is, you've guessed it, even. That's great logic, because now that's got to be odd to make the count correct. Therefore, that's got to be, we've got a Z pentomino out of absolute, well, not out of nowhere, out of a lot of hard work. But now what have we got? We've got a Z here. Now, was there somewhere I could have put a Z before that I can't put it? I can't remember. I think there was a possibility of a Z there at one point, but so okay. So now I'm not sure what that meant. I mean, there's only one more blue cell in this column, and it's going to have to connect this to this, so it must be in one of those 2, so that's got to be orange. So if that was an L, if the L went like this, this would have to not be an L, and would have to be an N. But if the L went like this, this would have to be a Y. Oh, okay, we've got to be careful with... Oh no, we don't. Hang on. What's this shape? That can't be an F. Oh, but oh no, everything is... Yeah, hang on, I've forgotten something. Everything that's orange is in a pentomino. So this... How could that not be in this pentomino? No, it's got to be. It's got to be, because it can't find its home in another pentomino. There's an L coming in over here, and there's not enough room. So this is all part of one pentomino, and if that's all part of one pentomino, what's the extra cell of it? It can't be an F. We've already got an F here. So it's got to be a Y, so that's a Y pentomino, which means that... Okay, so now this cell is blue, because one of these is part of the L, and that's the 5th in its box, so that's blue. Now, I thought I just said this could be a Y in one instance, which was, I think if the L did this, then this can't be an L, so it would have to be a Y, which it can't be because we've already got a Y. We need to put all 12 different pentominoes in. So the L doesn't do this, the L does that. Good grief, that's complicated. Which allows this to be an N. Wow. Okay, so now we get a bit further. We get that one. We get this one. We isolate a blue cell there in doing that. But I think that's all logically sensible. So we've now got an N. In fact, what pentominoes have we got now? Lots. Oh, I can do the I along the bottom. That's got to be there. So that gives us another digit or another parity there. So what have I not done now? Oh, what can I... Oh, look, I can do some more things. I've got four blues there, so those are all orange. That's given me the final rows parity, look, final columns parity, I should say. What about this? No. What about that? No. What about this? No. This thermometer's about to come into its own, isn't it? Okay, so maybe I've got to work out what... Let's go back to my list here. Okay, so what I've seen F, I've seen I, I've seen L, I've seen N, I've seen P, I've not seen T or U or X. So it's T, U, and X that we've got to place. T, U, and X. Ah, and I've still got to put 1 in one of those. Oh, this isn't the X now. Look, because that's not able to be blue. So this is the U. Ah, well that's good. That's good. That's another pentomino ticked off our list. So that's a U. So we've got T and X to place. And the odd digits in the grid all have to be part of pentominoes. So that can't be part of an X. Because it can't be. So that's got to be part of a T, which looks like it's going to have to do that sort of thing. Is there another? No, there's no other T you can build from there. So that's a T, like that. And then these have to be part of an X, which must be like that. Good grief. Oh my goodness me. What a puzzle this is. And now we can bluify these digits. And we can... Well, what do we do now? I've got a thermometer here that could be... Well, it could be 1, 2, 3. Or it could be 1, 5, 9. That 1 is not correct. Don't forget that 1 is was there for me to identify my blue pentominoes. It could actually be... No, it can't be correct. It's even. It's a 2 or a 4, so it can't be correct. 6 or 8 here. 1 or 3 here. Hang on, let me just think about this. What is going to disambiguate the puzzle now? Because effectively, I want to say the shapes are now irrelevant. They were just relevant for pinpointing parity. And we have that parity so pinpointed now. So what have we got to do? That digit's a 7 or a 9 by Sudoku. That digit's a 7 or a 9 by Sudoku. Oh, okay, so maybe we go back to thinking about 5s, do we? There's got to be a 5 in one of those 2 cells. There's got to be a 5 in one of those 2 cells. Yeah, there you go. There's a 5 here out of nowhere. A 5 in one of these 3. 5 in one of those 2. It's a text, but it doesn't look like it's an important one. So I want to say this might be colouring now. Somehow we're going to have to work out where these digits go in each box. It's almost two different puzzles as well. You know, we've sort of got an odd puzzle going on and an even puzzle going on. That's got to be a 1 or a 3, so that's a 7 or a 9. That's got to be a 7 or a 9. Yeah, like that digit and that digit are the same, because this digit has to find a home in box 8, and it can't be that one. So okay, so here we go. Those two digits are the same. Ah, all right. So those two digits are the same, and they are different from this digit because this one sees this one. So let's give that a different colour, and that I can see is feeding into these two 1s and 3s. So that's a yellow 1, 3, and that's a red 1, 3. Oh, then everything stops. Oh, hang on. I've got 1, 3 here, and I've put 7, 9 in there. That's not very sensible. That's a V. So that's a 2 or a 4. Not that that's going to help, I don't think. I've got 7s and 9s in here. Oh, right, okay. Maybe we go further then. I said this was an odd and even puzzle, but, well, those two digits connect across an X and add up to 10. So this being a red 1, 3 is associated with that particular 7 and 9, which means that these two digits must sum to 10 in row 3. So that's sort of a yellow digit, which means that's a red digit. So there's a yellow, right? Yeah. So there's a yellow digit on this X. There's a yellow 7, 9 on it, which means that it's 1, 3, 7 or 9, but it's entirely yellow, and that means that is a 1, 3, and that's red. Yeah, this method might work actually. That now cannot be yellow, so that's red. Right, there's got to be a red 1, 3 in this column. It's got to be that one, which means that's the 7, 9 that's red, and this is a yellowed 1, 3, 7, 9 X domino, which might matter, maybe. That's a yellow. Yellow goes with this one. I'm wondering whether we're almost going to have to go into the yellows of the, you know, I could make this yellow because across a domino here it adds up to 5. Yeah, so those two are the same digit by that logic, so we will make those yellow. That one, and that one's not. That's a red one, because that's opposite a red 1, 3 adding up to 5. So there is a yellow 2, 4 in one of those. No. Okay, that's a red 2, 4. This is a yellow 2, 4. Okay, so hopefully if we keep going with this, we'll find a way of understanding the puzzle. I thought I was going to get red 2, 4 in here, but it's in one of two places. That's red 2, 4. Oh, goodness me. Oh, of course, where does 5 go in this column? It's got to go there. We seem to have X dominoes of the other digits. So there's a 5 down there, which we knew. There's a 5 over here, which we knew. So that's useless. No. What about yellow 7, 9 in this box then? That seems to have to be there. So that's yellow, and that's 7, 9. So this must be one. That must be the red 1, 3. That's nice. So both of these are red. Which means, that's a yellow 7, 9. So that's not a yellow 7, 9, which means that is a yellow 7, 9. Yellow, yellow, that's yellow. Oh, come on. Yes, that's yellow. Here we go. Here we go. Are we getting into this thermometer? This is where we're going to have to get to for us to really make progress. That's yellow 1, 3 by Sudoku. Which means that's yellow 7, 9 by Sudoku. I've done it. I've done it. 1 hour, 1.5 hours. I've done it. See if you can see why I've done it. Because, look, yellow 7s and 9s, I think has to go here. Well, that definitely, it's the bulb of a thermo. It can't possibly be a 9, or that's going to be a 10. So it's going to have to be a 7, which means that's an 8 and that's a 9. And all of a sudden, he says, well, okay, it does work. So yellow is now 7, which is opposite a 3 on an X. So every time we see a yellow 7, 9, we can write 7 in. Every time we see a yellow 1, 3, we can write 3 in. Every time we see a yellow 2, 4, we can write 2 in. That means an 8 goes across the X from that. That's got to be a 7. That's got to be a 3. That's got to be a 3 because it's yellow. Which means that this must be red, doesn't it? That is the red digit is the 9, so we can write 9 into all of the red high numbers. Opposite 1s into all of these. Opposite 4s across the V dominoes. How did you construct this? Jeff Wise, how did you do it? Right, this is now a 3-7 pair. This is what's that then? A 5-3 pair, is it? Oh, okay, I thought that would be resolved. Okay, we need to put 1 in this column. It's now got to go there, which is a red 1. Now that means in this column we need a 5, which must go at the top, which gets us a 5 and a 3 and a 3 and a 7. So that becomes a 7. That's 9 in the corner. We know that 9 is red. So in this column we need 1 and 5, which we can put in. That's therefore got to be, I was about to say 9, but it's not 9. That's the 9. That's the 7. And that gets yellowed, and that gets redded. And that 1 is a red digit, so that gets redded. Okay, so can we now do, yes, this has got to be a 1-9 pair, so that's got to be the 5. Can we get the order of this? Yes, we can from this. So that's 1, that's 1, that's 9. They both get redified. These have got to be a 5 and a 9, and we now know the order. So that's 9, that's 5. How many 5s have we got? No, not all of them, because there's 1 to place here. And I think that's all the odd digits done. We've effectively done the odd part of the puzzle now. So all we've got to do is do the even part of the puzzle. And then we will have finished the puzzle. And that will be a cause for some celebration, at least in the Anthony household. How do we do this? So maybe I've got to focus on the even digits. Can we do that? Yes, 4 in the middle of the grid goes in. So these two squares have got to be a 6-8 pair, which I thought would be resolved, but doesn't seem to be. So that's a 6 or an 8, is it? This column actually is done, isn't it? We need a 6 at the top, which means those two digits are a 2-8 pair, which means that is a 6 and that is an 8. Which means in this column we need 4s and 6s, which I think is probably resolved. That's a 6 by Sudoku. So this is 2 and 8, which means this is 4 and 6, which means look, this 8 there has to go there in that row. So that's 8, that's 2, that's 6 now, so that's 8. Which means that's 8 and that's 2, which means that's 8 and that's 2, which means we get 6 here, 4 here. This is a 2-8 pair, which we can do. 8 in the corner with a 4 here. 4 goes here. This is 6 and 2, which we can do. Here we go. And 2 and 4. 2, 4, 6. And that... I know I haven't done all the colouring. I hope you'll forgive me. I'm worried my computer's going to overheat. Let me just click tick. Yes, I did it. Odd pentominoes on the loose. What a monster. What a monster. But quite a brilliant puzzle. Absolutely brilliant. I'm absolutely sure there are a zillion ways I could have improved upon my thinking there, but I found it very hard to disambiguate the shapes really logically. Again, this puzzle might be susceptible to those of you who enjoy sort of playing around. I don't call it bifurcation, but if you went off on trails where you sort of assumed something, I think you could fairly quickly disprove various ways of doing it if you were sort of prepared to really bash in or not digits but bash in colours and see what it was forcing. But I tried to do it sort of methodically, as is my want and my way, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. What a stellar puzzle. Let me know in the comments how you got on. Let me know gently what I missed, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.